Welcome, my name is Joseph Anderson, and today I'll be talking about sales tax in QuickBooks. This demonstration will go over mapping QuickBooks tax codes versus tax as a line item, whether you should consider using a third-party service to manage your tax instead of QuickBooks, as well as how to map grouped and single tax codes with our system. So a little bit about me. I'm the CEO and founder of Sync with Connex, and I'm the principal software developer. Been working with QuickBooks for over 12 years, and I started the Connex for QuickBooks project back in 2011. I've helped set up hundreds of customers with the online and desktop versions of QuickBooks. So let's get started with how does our software map your tax? Our software will take your sale from your website and send it to QuickBooks without any tax. Then our software will map a tax code based on your particular settings. So if it's an order for $106.25, we'll send the order to QuickBooks with $100 of tax. And if you're in Massachusetts with the sales tax is 6.25 as of this recording, we'll apply a Massachusetts tax code and add $6.25 to the order. Now you might be asking me, well, Joe, my website has a tax code, why can't you just map that over? And that would be feasible for something like Massachusetts, where there's a single code. But as I'll explain a little later in my demonstration, certain states like California can tax you at the state, the county, and city level combined. So it's not feasible to map many tax codes to one tax code in QuickBooks. Therefore, we have a mapping tool. With Connex, you can map two types of codes. You can map the group code, which you see here on the top, which is represented by three different sales tax items, which are LA tax, CA tax, and LA County. With our software, when you map the codes, you will see a full list of your county and your items that you can map. Later in the video, I'll describe how to map the taxes by city or county, but if you're mapping a city or county, you probably want to map a grouped tax rate. So here's an example of our software mapping a tax code on a QuickBooks order. You can see on the bottom of the sale where it says CA group tax, we've applied 8.5%. And on the right hand side of the screenshot, you see the word tax. Now the items that are marked as tax are going to have the 8.5% applied to them, and the items that are marked as none are going to have no tax applied. With Connex for QuickBooks, you can map your tax by the city, the county, the state, or the country if you're outside of the United States. Our software will first try to find a matching tax code by the city, then the county, and if there's no match, then we'll try the state. So I've added some pictures here of the Connex for QuickBooks. On top is the edit form from the grid, and the bottom are the results of the grid. So I have a city of Los Angeles, and I have a county of Los Angeles, so you can apply your tax by city, by county, or just by state. If I had an order in Los Angeles, then the Los Angeles LA tax would apply, but if it was in a suburb of Los Angeles in the same county, then the CA tax would apply. And if it was an order in San Francisco or any other part of California, then the code sales tax would apply. You can see here that I've ordered them from the city down to the county to the state just to show you how the taxes will map. You can also add tax as a line item if you have multiple tax rates. So if you charge tax in Colorado and California and Georgia and Massachusetts, you would need a tax rate for every single rate and place where you apply tax, and it can get out of hand. So the easiest way to do it is to apply the tax as a line item, and we'll just map the actual tax from the order onto the QuickBooks sale. All the items on the order will say non-taxable, and if you look at your sales tax payable report, you'll see that the sales tax will go into the sales tax payable bucket. It's really the same as a QuickBooks tax code, except with a QuickBooks tax code, you can group the sales by California or Los Angeles County or by state of Washington, whereas a taxes line item, everything is just kind of lumped through. So here's an example of how this works with Shopify. You see here I have sales tax of 6.25 on a particular sale. We've run our syncing tool, and this is just for the QuickBooks desktop. Online doesn't use the web connector. And you'll see here that sales tax is the second item on the order, and we just took the 56 cents and we plugged it in. On the right hand side where it says tax, we can map it to OOS. You can use our rules engine to map the tax, and the customer tax code on the bottom can also be mapped with our rules engine. So what do you recommend in my scenario? Do I add tax as a line item? Do I get a third-party service? Do I just use the QuickBooks tax codes? If you're using a third-party service, like an Avalara, there's a checkbox on our setup wizard. Just check it off. We add an item called total AVA tax onto the order, and that's how we'll map your tax pretty easily. Just a simple checkbox, pretty simple to integrate. If you use QuickBooks Online and they have an automatic sales tax feature where they'll put the amounts into certain payables for you, it's already pre-configured, nothing for you to change. In a state like Massachusetts, where you got the flat tax, you can get by just using QuickBooks tax codes. Those work really well for those types of scenarios where you have a single rate in a single state. But when you have a website, you're charging tax all over the place, you really need a third-party service. One of the problems with tax is that you have tax-free holidays, tax rates change, and when you start applying tax codes, they stay static, so you may end up applying tax on orders where they don't have any tax at all or they have the wrong rate. At least with tax as a line item, you're always mapping the rate from your website. You can upload a spreadsheet of tax codes for every city or county in Connex, but the problem is that as the tax rates change, as tax-free weekends, you may be charging the wrong rate on some of your certain orders. But you can get around having to enter by hand 20 or 30 or even 100 tax codes by just simply uploading a sheet of the tax code along with the city, county, or state. In some cases, and I've seen this in the South especially, if your city or town exists in multiple counties, the sync could send over the wrong tax code. And this is a scenario where I recommend a third-party service. So in summary, QuickBooks tax codes are okay if you have one tax rate. But if you have multiple rates, different states, counties, city, I recommend the tax as a line item. The codes are ideal for grouping tax by state or county, so if you want to know how much tax for California versus Washington versus Georgia, the codes are ideal because the sales tax as a line item will bundle them into one just big sales tax payable. But if you have a very complex scenario, I recommend using a third-party service for your complex scenarios because the cost of supporting and maintaining your taxes in QuickBooks could exceed the cost of a third-party service. So after this, if you're still experiencing sync issues, what's the best way to contact us? If you go to help.synkwithconnex.com, you can click on the submit a ticket on the top right, and you can just detail some of the errors that you have. What sync dates did you try? Show us any duplicate products, stock changes that failed to sync, and we will respond within 1 business day. Thank you.